So from here, you're going to click on domestic order entry. Remember, this is just a request. This is not an actual order. We're requesting items. Next, you'll see another screen open up, and it's going to ask you for which program you want to use. And you can minimize the screen that's next to it. It looks a little different on my screen because we have it kind of blown up. But so when we clicked on domestic order entry, that a slide or a screen opened, you can hide that navigation panel by clicking on the arrow. So now you will see a larger screen and you'll see the quick search box. So let's talk about what we're doing here. Direct delivery versus catalog. So users need to locate available products and catalog for requisitions. So with direct delivery, we are searching for the products. Whereas when we get into processing in the next section, you're actually going to search for them via a material code or keywords. So it's a little bit different. Right now, we're just browsing a catalog, seeing what's available. So you're going to select hit the plus button next to NSLP, and that's going to drop down more options. So you'll see here after we clicked on that plus button in NSLP, now we have the option of direct delivery or processing diversion. In this first section, we're going to look at direct delivery. Remember, direct delivery is formerly brown box. And then from here, you're going to select which category under direct delivery you want to look at. So for this example, we selected meat. And then as you'll see under meat, you have two options, entitlement and bonus. So you can select which one you'll use, entitlement or bonus. Entitlement, these products will decrease your entitlement balance. They're going to draw from your entitlement amount. Whereas bonus, ordering bonus products will not impact your entitlement balance. So if you select an entitlement, go ahead and click on entitlement. You'll have a screen that opens up with all the options that would draw down your entitlement that you can select from. Now, again, remember my example on my screen might look a little different than what you're looking at. Okay. And you can adjust what you're looking at on the screen. So for example, my screen is only showing 4 examples. If there were additional items, you could show more on the screen, whatever works best for you. Just know that that is an option. There's not a whole lot in the training environment. When you get into the actual live environment and do your requisitions, there's going to be more options. But these are just examples for us to mess around in. Okay, let's do our first assessment. So this is asking what screenshot best represents the content screen you will see once you have chosen material food group in while using entitlement. So if you look at the three screens, which one is showing you the items using entitlement? Look just like what I just showed you. All right. So let's go back to the requisition. So you'll see with the screen that we were on, there are columns that have quantity amount. We don't enter anything in there. Just ignore those columns right there. That's not where we're going to put our information in. What we are going to do is we're going to go to the shopping cart. So you're going to pick one of those items and click on the shopping cart. So once you click on the shopping cart of the item that you want to see, it's going to open up another window and give you the product details. So you'll see this one has a product number, it's chicken strips frozen, it has the price, and then it has, if you wanted to order a whole truckload, how much you would have to order. And then you'll see the dates, the delivery dates, and the order by dates. So a delivery date is a range of dates when commodities may be delivered to the shipped to or contracted warehouse. These are pre-populated and you cannot change them. Whereas the order by date is the last date you can submit a request for that delivery date. Meaning if I wanted to have this product in by April 15th, I need to order it by March 31st. So we're going to pick our dates or that we would like to have these items run into the warehouse, and we're going to put in our quantities. Once you've entered in your quantity amount, you're going to move it to the cart. After you've moved it to the cart, you'll see at the top of your screen, you'll see your cart total. So view cart, it shows, it populates, there's 2 items, the value of those items. Okay, let's do another assessment. So this one is asking, from what we just covered, once you have placed food items in your shopping cart, your cart will begin to total a dollar amount. Choose the image below that shows the value of the cart, where it can be found. Give you a few more seconds to answer that one. Remember, you'll always be able to go back to these slides. You can find them on squaremeals.org under the WebSEM transition page, as well as Region 10 has a live binder with all this material as well. Okay, so we would repeat browse catalog for other product items for the same ship to location. So if these are items we're shipping to the same location, we're going to keep adding to the same requisition. Now remember, your cart will not save. So when you're working on this, the system might time out. It might, if you have a power outage, it's not an auto save. So make sure that we recommend you work in small batches. We've had some RAs during the pilot that maybe made a huge order and something happened and they lost it all and they had to start all over. So just be aware of that. So again, this is just showing you can click on that arrow to hide your transaction panel. So if you clicked on, go back there. If you clicked on your cart at the top of the screen, you can see everything that's in that cart. So this is what we're showing here. This is your cart. So the first thing in that cart are references and descriptions. So you can add descriptive information to each requisition, and that just helps you identify and clarify later in WebSEM. So if you have to go back to a requisition, it'll just help you know, like, oh, this one was just my chicken, or oh, this was, all my ground beef items. So you'll see in your cart, the first thing is reference. So you can add you don't have to, it's completely optional, but if it helps you remember and helps you back when you have to go back and look up things later. You can add a description here. This is a, text field. So maybe, like I said, it could be all your ground beef or your turkey, whatever helps you remember. So for this example, they just typed in numbers for their reference and for their description. So now you'll have all your items in there. Anytime you make any changes, you have to click update. So for example, they added a reference number and a descriptor number. So you have to click update or it won't save that information. If you had multiple items in here, you might have to scroll down a ways to find that update button. Okay, time for another assessment. This one is asking which screenshot below indicates an order in process. So just a hint, it'll look like the screen we were just looking at. Okay, So as we were talking about, we want to make sure all these, or we want to have all these items maybe shipped to the same destination that we're working on. So it just makes it easier. So all of these items we're gathering today in this requisition, we're going to ship them to the same location. So we're going to do apply all. I'll show you how to do that. So the next step, we put in our reference number, our description. Now we want to pick where we want to have it delivered to. So if you click on the delivered to, you'll see a drop down arrow and it's going to give you options. So you would select which one. And then you can see there is an option where you can click on delivered to selection. So the top, where it says delivered to selection, you can click on the very top one, and that's going to give that same delivered to all of the same all of those items will have the same ship to location. So just click on the delivered to checkbox in the header there. And then anybody know what our next step is? Update. We're going to update because we made a change in there, so we need to update that change. Now, maybe you're going through here and you see an item that shouldn't be on there. At this point, you can remove this item. So you can simply see the trash can at the side, and you can select the items you want to remove and hit update. Now, if you had submitted this, you would not be able to make changes. So with that in mind, we want to make drafts. So we're going to make a draft of all our requisitions for quality assurance, and we're going to have someone else in the office review this before we submit it. So what we're going to do is we've selected our products, and you'll see under user status, right now it says ready for approval, which means it goes to TDA, but we're going to change that to draft. So just simply click on the drop down arrow for each item, and you'll change that to draft. Make sure you've done that on every single item. Once you've done that, of course, you're going to click update to save that. Now, you can click order. So during the draft status, TDA will not be able to review this, and you can make your quality assurance checks. So that again, they won't be submitted to TDA yet. They're not drawing down your entitlement. It's just in a draft state. So you can look at, we're going to print this off and we're going to look at it. So let's talk about that. So once you click order, I know it sounds weird because you're not really ordering anything, but it's going to ask you, or do you really want to send the order? And it's in the draft status. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. Now you'll see you'll have a confirmation appear. So you have a receipt and you'll have an order number assigned to this transaction. Again, it's marked draft and has not been sent to TDA. Yes, it would be saved if it's in draft status. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to print this. We're going to print this order or requisition. Oop, time for another assessment. Go ahead and get your phones out. See what we got. So this one is asking which below is a requisition number that the WebSCM creates once your requisition has been submitted. Okay, so we printed off our requisition and now we can identify errors before we submit this to TDA. So you're going to select a staff member to conduct the quality assurance checks. And you're going to use the requisition checklist for guidance. The requisition checklist is on Square Meals on the WebSCM transition page. I can show you where to find that in a little bit. And the person's going to check for quantities. Is it the right quantity? The unit of measure, the ship to location, and the delivery dates. So again, you're going to get that PDF form and you're going to follow these steps. So first, like I said, we're going to look for that material description and product number for each line item. Is this really the product you wanted? Did you pick the wrong item or the correct item? So just making sure. Did you pick the right warehouse, the right location you want it shipped to? And quantities. Most direct delivery commodities will be in cases, but there's a few that are in pounds. So making sure it's the right quantity. And confirm quantity is correct for the requested delivery date to the warehouse. So if any of this information is incorrect, you want to make a note of it, draw a circle around it on your paper that you printed off, so you can go back and make those changes. So you're going to repeat this for each line item in your requisition, okay? So now, after you've gone through your requisition, you've made any changes that need to be made, you can go back to the draft status or to your draft and update it to ready for approval. So you have all your requisition printouts in front of you, and then you're going to log into WebSCM with those. So to find those that you have in draft status, you're going to go to operations. Click on order management. And then you'll see my transactions. So while you're in the training environment, there might be a bunch of other transactions that people have made. But if you created one and you had a description or you had just at the top of the list, you can look at that one. So you'll click on My Transactions to locate saved requisitions in draft status. And then you have an option. You can say when it was created to kind of narrow down the search. So we want to change the status to any. Next, we want to change the creation date, last 12 months. That's just going to give us more options, what we've created. And now you should have a list of all your transactions with a hyperlink in blue. So you can select the one that corresponds to your printout. And you'll open it. So this is what you'll see. Remember, everything's in draft status. And now if you need to make any changes to that, well, you're gonna have to change anyway to change the draft status. So you're gonna click on change. And here is where you can make your changes. So the first one we're gonna look at is quantity. So if you need to change the quantity, you would go in and make those edits. If no edits are needed, just leave it as is. If you need to make a change in the delivery location, each item has a drop-down box which will open up its delivery location. So for this example, on the first one, on the chicken fajita strips, I clicked on the drop-down button and now you can see where it's being delivered to. So just remember that all warehouses and processors appear in your drop-down box. You have to make sure you're selecting your warehouse for direct delivery items. And again, when you emphasize it, make sure you select your warehouse. So then you can go ahead and close out if you've made any changes, if any changes are need to be made. And we always want to click update to save changes. Now we have to change the status. We have to change, go in there for every single item and change it to ready for approval. So once you've done that for every item, again, we're going to click on update. Okay. And now we want to hit save. And save is going to submit it to TDA. Okay, because we changed it to ready for approval. So that means it's ready to go to TDA. So we click on the save button. It's going to ask us again, do you really want to save this? We're going to click OK. Now you'll see they should all say ready for approval in the status. Again, you want to click print button for this requisition just for your records. And you will repeat this update and change everything to ready for approval for each of your direct delivery requisitions. A lot for me to say this morning, I guess. Okay, I'm going to go into the live environment. So I might want to stop sharing for a second and change screens. Let's see. Okay. So remember, we're going to go in as customer. And we're going to make sure we have our training login. So remember, first we're going to see our message alerts. We want to go to operations. And order management. And then we're going to click on domestic order entry. From here, remember I said you can close this window just to make your screen a little bigger. Okay. Next, you can click on NSLP. Remember, now we have the options of direct delivery or processing diversion. Click on direct delivery, and we'll see all our different categories under that. So we're going to select meat. Now you'll see the entitlement and bonus options. We're going to do entitlement. All right. So again, just for the training purposes, there's only a few items listed. So when you get into the live production, there'll be different more items available. So remember, we do not use the quantity boxes or column there. We use the cart. So you can see here, it has a product number that it's using NSLP entitlement. If you want to know about the product, you can click on the hyperlink. Oops. We're going to click on the cart. Okay, so from here, you'll see all the delivery dates and order by dates. So you're going to select what dates you want. So we'll just put in some amounts here. 50, 25, and 30. And then we want to move that to the cart. So now you'll see, like we did in the training or in the slides, we have our cart at the top. Now we could add more items. We could go to the pork. Say, oh, I want to add pork as well. Or we could do another beef. How about a beef roast? Whatever you want to add. Okay, so now we go up to the top and we'll see our cart with our items in it. We're going to click on that. And here's our order in progress. So we can type a reference number and a description. We'll just say beef. And then you'll click your deliver to location. We'll just pick Houston ISD. Okay. Now remember, if we want them all to be the same deliver to location, we simply select this and you'll see in the drop downs, oops, we have to hit update first. Don't forget that. Now we can see it's all being delivered to Houston ISD. Okay. And remember, we're going to change it to the draft status. While we do our QC. Hit update. Oh, it's still going, okay. And we're going to hit order. Yes. Okay, so there's our order. Now to find that, we're going to go, I'm going to just start you from the beginning. We're going to do our operations, order management, domestic order entry, and we're going to go to my transactions. Okay. And we want to make sure the status is for any. I'm just going to keep it today. Let's see what we get. So this is the one that I just created. So we printed it off, we did our QC checks, and we found out that we didn't need this item. So we're going to click change. Oh, we're going to change the quantity. Let's change it to, if we don't want it at all, we can change it to 0 and save it. Or we can change it to maybe 25. Update. And now we have the correct quantity. So if we did all of our changes, we'll go back and change them to ready to approval. Update. And save. All right, so I know it looks like we're having some issues getting into the training environment. So I would suggest that you attend one of the face-to-face labs that our Region 10 is offering. Because yeah, we can only get some, it's hard with so many people trying to get at the same time. Okay, we're gonna take like a 5-minute break and we're gonna switch and Sarah's gonna talk to you about processing. So let's come back at, yes. What would that be? Like, let's come back at 10:05.
Hi, guys. I know we said like a 5-minute break, and then Chris gave us a 15-minute break. So she gave us a nice long break, but maybe just 2 or 3 more minutes. We'll plan for 9:55, and then we'll go ahead and get started on the processing part of entering our requisitions. So hopefully everybody's had some time to stretch their legs and take care of a few things. I know we have a big group online, so that sometimes does affect the training environment. But you guys, please know that once you're in the live production environment, you probably won't encounter as many errors. It's just the amount of users, and the training environment tends to be a little bit more fickle, if that's a word. And so a lot of the runtime errors and different things like that, it's somewhat common in the training environment, but our schools that have already transitioned over, they're not seeing those same errors. So hopefully that puts you a little bit at ease with everything. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. This next part is going to focus in on how to enter your processing requisitions. So we're going to walk you through that. You will find that it's very similar to the direct delivery. We're going to follow a little bit different process, but at the same time, we're still putting in that request. So just as a reminder, these are your requests for your items to be processed. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to get them. It's replacing those surveys. So I'm going to turn my video off. I do think that helps a little, and then we'll move forward. Okay. So Chris covered some of this in the first session, why we're moving to WebSCM. So it's what we're going to utilize for you guys as the RAs to submit your orders to USDA. USDA owns WebSCM, and so right now that's the best solution for us in Texas as we move forward. So many states across the nation use WebSCM. So while it's a bit of a learning curve for us, we know that it's proven successful, and we're going to all get there together. So there's our acknowledgement statement. We discussed that earlier as well, that we're not going to cover the entire scope of the program. You're still responsible. for the information. And we at the ESCs are here to support you guys and make sure that you are staying up to date with all those alerts, notices, guidance, and whatnot on operating the program. Okay, so we're going to look at the processing diversion via extended search. So how to select our products and then identify those deliver to and ship tos while using the extended search for those requests. So it is going to be a little bit different than our direct deliveries where we utilized the catalog. So we'll look at the terminology again and understand how to create that processing diversion requisition, including how to order our quantities, identify those delivery locations, and delivery dates. So here's our high-level overview. Just keeping in mind that WebSCM takes us from the distribution of entitlement to that initial delivery point. So either getting your products to the warehouse for direct delivery or getting your products to your processors. So your procedures that you follow for ordering your processed items, that's not changing. So K-12 processor link, that information is still the same. This is just the request whereby you are requesting those material numbers to get the item diverted to the processor. So another overview, just remember our requisitions. This is prior to a sales order. So there is a lot of change in some of the terminology, but keep in mind, you guys have access to all of the training information. So as you work through it, it does become more familiar as we transition. So, and we're still learning too at the ESC. Sometimes we call catalogs surveys and surveys catalogs, but our new term under WebSCM is catalogs. And then in TXU-NPS, you guys had delivery orders. And once those requisitions move through the process, they become a sales order. So that's after the requisitions are created, submitted, consolidated, and approved. And then it runs through procurement with USDA. So hopefully you guys, I know we've put it in the chat, access to the training environment, and then the username and passwords. And then if, like we said, we've got multiple different ones. So in order to get in that good practice in the training environment, Region 10 will make sure that you guys have your logins and passwords. Whenever you log into the training environment, just make sure that you're selecting that customer option. And then you'll enter in your username and password. Once you have access to the live environment, it does look exactly the same. So when you log in, so you just want to make sure that you're using, if you're in the practice environment, you're using your training login, and obviously in the live environment, you'll have your specific login information that gives you just access to your RA. So there's that reminder again. Right now, we're all in the training environment. So the NTRN, that's what you see up at the top. Chris went through this as well, the updates, the new content. So when we start processing, we are going to create our requisition for each ship to location. So that's kind of the recommendation, the best practice, that if you're processing items, you're going to put together all your material numbers that you are sending to one common processor. That sometimes makes it easier to organize the materials, do our quality assurance checks, and ultimately we have less errors, which then ensures that the likelihood that you will get those products is higher. So the recommendation is to organize by the ship to location. So I'm going to kind of follow Chris's format. We will go through all the slides, and obviously it's going to walk you step by step. And then at the end, I'll go into the training environment and kind of walk through what that looks like. And I think you'll see that it's very similar to the direct delivery as well, but sometimes it just helps to see it in the training environment. And we also have the assessments as we go throughout this piece of the training. So be sure that you have your student IDs available, because that ensures that you will get your access to the live environment. So we start under operations, just as we did before. And I don't know, maybe Chris or somebody can grab, there is a processing via extended search one pager. If not, I can try to put it into the chat. I find those materials are posted on the WebSCM transition page, and they are very helpful. I find the one pagers are very helpful with walking through the process. So we start under operations, same process. Order management is our next step. From there, we're going to go down to domestic order entry. So if you guys are able to get back into the training environment and walk through this, that's great. And if not, you can just follow along with the slides. So as we said before, this is just our request. It's not a sales order yet. It's just truly a requisition where we're requesting items. So then it opens up our product catalog. And you'll see that same process with NSLP will be there, just like Chris showed you how when you search for your direct delivery. But for processing, we're going to follow a different step. So for processing, instead of clicking there, and you can hide that panel, we're going to go here under our extended search. So when we're utilizing our extended search, we need to have our product number. So basically, instead of opening up the catalog that we did for our direct delivery, where you could, literally see all the items that are available, when you get ready to enter your processing requisitions, you kind of need to come with all of your commodity calculators completed. You've done all your homework. You have the material numbers that you were planning to divert. And you also, we're going to look at where some of that information is located on TDA's website, so that you can ensure that you are utilizing the correct material number. So not all processors receive all material product numbers. So this is why it's critical that when you put in your processing request, you've done your homework, we're going to follow that quality assurance, and that will ensure that we are sending the appropriate material product number to the appropriate processor. Because what happens is, let's say you pick a wrong material number and maybe the correct processor. Well, when TDA sees that, they don't know if the material number is correct or the processor is correct. I mean, they have no way of knowing where the mistake was made. So that's where, we want to make sure that we're utilizing that correct, so we can eliminate those errors, because then that obviously impacts building the trucks, and ensuring that you get the items that you need for your menus. So materials that are sent to the wrong processor, what will happen is, if for some reason you make a mistake, we put in the wrong material number, it doesn't match a processor, then it is going to be canceled. So TDA, they have their process whereby once the requisitions go in, they're reviewing all of that data. But we want to do our part up front to try to eliminate as much as we can. So you want to make sure that you're locating your materials from your bid awarded processor, so we're getting the right products to the right place. So in order to locate the list of approved processors, this information is located on TDA's website under the food distribution program for NSLP. So while all of the one pagers, the training materials, the FAQs, a lot of information that we're reviewing today, these slides are located under the WebSCM transition project page. When you get ready for processing, you're going to go to the food distribution program for NSLP, for the National School Lunch Program. And within that web page, there is a link for the approved processors. So if we scroll down, once we go to processing information, and I think I'll go through this and then I'll go back and kind of show you guys where it's at. You can go down and TDA has listed all of the approved processors for 22, 23 and 23, 24. So from there, we want to access that file. So obviously right now we have the file for 23, 24, but you guys will be waiting until we get that file for 24, 25. So once that's posted, that will be the information that you will utilize as you move through the transition. So when you open that file, it literally spells out all the different processors. So you find your processor, and then you'll see as you move to the columns to the right, you'll see those material numbers that are linked to that processor. So this is where you're checking to make sure, okay, did I send the right material code to the appropriate processor? Because in the past, some of this information may have been entered through your co-op coordinators or different, those the requisitions, but now you're managing this piece and ensuring that it's going to the appropriate processor. Material descriptions are also located. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to stop this share. I want to show you guys where that is located. Walk you through it just real quick. Okay, so let's go here. Maybe I'll start at the beginning. So we were under programs. So we're on TDA Square Mill site, and we are going to access the food distribution program for NSLP. And then you can see we have all the different options here on the left-hand side. And we're going to go to the processing information. So we click here, we scroll down. And here are our list of materials for further processing. So this is where the spreadsheet is located. Mine, it's not going to, I have to do a new share to show you what actually opens up. But the file that opens up looks exactly like the screenshot that was in the training. Let's see. Whoops. Can't do all the things I wanted to do. There we go. Oh, that's actually not the one I wanted. That's the material numbers for processing. Let's see. Stop that one. Okay. What's this? Oh, I know what I did. Okay, sorry guys, y'all bear with me. Oh, that's the approved processors. Oh,
Yeah, it is under there, Sarah.
is it? It's like, what did I do? Is it this one?
It's approved processor, yeah, list. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I had it pulled up and saved, but I figured it would help you more if I showed you. And then obviously in the process. No, that's the same one.
Oh, I have it open.
No, there it is. Here,
Okay,
I got
okay.
it. Yeah. Too many things. Sorry, guys. There we go. It looks like this.
Yeah.
So it's the one that has the orange. And it actually has that first one I pulled up. So it has both of the tabs, which can be beneficial. But this is that approved processor list that's in the materials that allows you to find your processor and then tie it to the appropriate material number. So you'll have a new file for 24, 25. Thanks, Chris. It's starting to panic there for a minute. Okay, let's get back to our slideshow. Here, share. Okay. So once we've identified our product number, So now we're back into WebSCM and we have that extended search option. So we're going to click on extended search. And then remember, we're pulling that number from our spreadsheet and we're going to enter that product number into the product number field. That's our material code, product number, kind of all means the same thing. And then we click search. And then from here, it does the match, brings it up. And remember, once it pulls up, we're looking for NSLP entitlement. So we want to make sure we're in the right program, or it could be bonus. We talked about that. Entitlement counts against your true entitlement allocation, whereas bonus does not. So we pull up, and then remember, when we get to this area and we're looking at our items, we don't click on the shopping. We can't enter anything into the quantity field. So this pulls up our unit of measure as well. So for our chicken, we're in pounds. We're just verifying that all of the information matches. So this is kind of our process for checking. Was I looking for the large chilled chicken? Make sure that descriptive information is there. There's our price, the material price per unit of measurement, either in cases or pounds. And as we said, this one is in pounds. And WebSCM always has the most recent updated pricing information. So if you ever have a conflict between what you see in regards to pricing in either ProcessorLink, K12, or WebSCM, WebSCM is the live actual environment. So that is the price that you will go by. As we said, we don't enter anything into the quantity field. So all of this follows the same process as your direct delivery once we've identified our product number. So we leave that blank and we're going to click on that shopping cart icon in the exact same manner, because then that's going to open up our next fields. But before we do that, we're going to take a brief assessment. So you can take a picture of that QR code or the bit.ly. So this one is asking which image shows the extended search feature for processing. And we understand that not everyone processes, but we want to make sure you guys have that knowledge in case that is an option that you decide to pursue. So I'll give you a minute to select your answers. After you guys complete, oh good, thank you, Jessica. I was like, if a few people can just let me know, maybe a thumbs up or that you're done with the assessment. We just want to make sure you guys get your assessments. Oh, very good. Because that's what ensures that you get your logins, right? And everybody ready. Oh, activate the screen. Okay. So remember, we had started, right? We found our material number and we clicked on the shopping cart. So that opens up our window whereby it lists the product details. So we verify once again, we have the correct item, and then our delivery dates and order by dates. So this is exactly the same as the direct delivery. So we check the information at the top. Our delivery date, that's when they're going to be delivered to the processor. Pre-populated, we can't modify that field. There's our order by date as well. We cannot change that field. These are all defaulted based on the product number. So then we enter our quantities. So we're going to enter that. And you want to pay attention to, remember, our chicken is in pounds. So you're requesting 100 pounds. Otherwise, you might see it in cases. So you just want to pay attention to whether or not you're in pounds or cases when you're placing your request, your unit of measurement. Once we've identified our quantities and spread them throughout the requested delivery dates, then we're going to move those items to our cart. For the assessments in the chat, Chris, if you can pull up your copy, what I did before, and find that slide and link that most recent assessment again, because we do want to make sure you guys get credit. And it's much easier for us to try to do that now than later. So we'll try to get that one posted in the chat. I know I did that a little bit in the first part. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to add our quantities to the cart. And then remember, it pushes it up to the top. So it moves everything up to the top. And you can continue to go back at this, you know, and you're adding your items into the cart. There's your total value. So what you're going to find with processing is that some of the items, whenever you put in your product material number and it opens up the delivery date screen, you will find that you have limited delivery dates. So do not panic when that happens. So we're going to kind of explain a little bit of that to you, because when we went through the pilot, we had some of that and it created some unnecessary panic. But just follow along. So you'll see that some of the products, for example, here, we're looking at a screen where the chicken, the chilled chicken, is showing the delivery period from April 1st to June 30th. Well, obviously, it does us no good to divert all of our chicken to a processor and have it all come in April 1st. And that is not what is happening. Okay, so don't let that alarm you when you see a shorter range of dates. So when the dates pop up, the limited, you know, the delivery dates and the order by dates, when you have a pretty full program year spread, the expectation is that you are spreading your requested items out throughout the year as you need them. So you will go through and enter, you know, I need 50 cases in November and 30 in February. And, you know, you're working through your menus and determining those quantities. When you have a limited delivery date, such as this, in this example, you will enter all of the items that you need, the total pounds for the entire school year for the April 15th delivery date. And you guys, this is tied to procurement with USDA. So it doesn't mean, as I said before, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get your chicken till April. You're still going to get your chicken. Don't worry. It's going to be there. It's going to go to your processor and you will be able to order it at the beginning of the 24-25 school year. But for some reason, it's the way WebSCM is built, and there are specific items based on the procurement process with USDA, whereby you will see these different date ranges. So there's also a one-pager on the transition page that speaks to the processing requisitions exceptions, which that's what these are. These are the exceptions. So in this scenario, we just want to make sure that everybody knows if they're processing and they have limited delivery dates, you are entering the total pounds for the entire year into that first quantity available. Otherwise, if you have the spread of the entire program year available, the expectation and the best practice is to spread those quantities out. And then it's still all being rolled up, procured appropriately. Like I said, you'll still follow your same process for ordering through K-12 and processor link. Let's see. Okay, so once we've entered our quantity, then you follow that same process to move it to your cart for those exception items. So we enter the total pounds, move it to our cart. And then you can repeat with your other product numbers. But remember, we're suggesting that you keep all of your material items that are going to one processor within one order. That's sometimes the easiest versus mixing and matching different processors within an order. So once all of the materials are listed for the desired processor, then at this point, we can select View Cart. So up at the top, if we log out during this time, we have lost our information, but you should have plenty of time as long as we keep it based on material number to work through for this processor. And then remember, once we get into our cart, it gives us the option to identify reference numbers or to place a descriptor. So it opens up the window, we click on the cart and we have a reference. So if our reference is poultry or, you know, I don't know, I think sometimes descriptor, maybe it's, you know, cycle 2, menu 5, or, you know, based on your weeks, your items. Those are optional columns, remember, just for record keeping and tracking. So those columns are not required. It's just to kind of help you organize and manage your different commodities and processors. There's the descriptor field. You can add numbers if you've got a coding system. Alphanumeric, it takes numbers basically, so that allows you to have a different coding system that you're utilizing. And then we can click update at any time, and that's what saves that information into the requisition. So if we have an item, we made a mistake and we know it now, then you can always remove an item. There's the trash can off to the right-hand side. So you'll find, guys, once you're in the system, it's pretty user-friendly. It's not a super fancy system, so I think it's pretty user-friendly. That's what we found from our pilot group, that once you get in, that's why practicing in that training environment is very important. But once you get in, it's pretty easy to navigate and work through. So you can click the box next to the trash can, and then remember that update is kind of like the save button. It just updates the screen, and then that would remove that item off of the requisition. So we're going to take another assessment. So I see that there's some questions about the processing. So let me see if you guys, okay. Can we divert all the pounds to all the processors at the beginning of the year? Okay, that's a great question, Craig. That also came up in the pilot. So the request is that when you put in your requisition, you are spreading those pounds unless you have the limited delivery dates. Then you can put all of the requested pounds into the first option. And I don't want to misspeak, so Chris, you may need to correct me, but there are processors that do front load, and TDA is aware of that. And my understanding is that that may still be happening, but your requisition should reflect those pounds spread throughout the year. So hopefully I answered that correctly. Do you agree, Chris?
Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah. I just saw you come off mute, so I was like, oh, and maybe Tamika answered you on the availability if it's limited. Yeah. Right. So, we just want to spread them out. And like I said, TDA knows the processors that front load. So you'll still get your items. I think you'll find that with WebSCM, what's happening also is you guys, as the RAs, you're seeing a lot more information that possibly happened behind the scenes in the past. So you're going to get a lot more emails, alerts through WebSCM, different things like that. You're not going to stop getting your NOI. Nope, it doesn't mean that. Courtney, by the month or use more pounds than you forecasted. This is just your request, remember? So once your request goes into WebSCM, it has to move through the process to become a sales order. It goes through the procurement with USDA. And when you guys take RA 105 and 106 on the reports, that's what allows you to walk through that process, and you'll see as all those items are moving through, but you still should have access as you have in the past. Processed products, will the ordered product go to Labatt or to direct shipment? So if you, Terry, if you are a direct ship RA, then that should stay the same. We have several direct ship RAs within Region 4. So then that is an additional training. If you are at a direct ship RA on how to receipt those items, that happens in the spring. Otherwise, if you're not a direct ship RA, then your products, your process, I mean, it's still that same process, and you're still ordering through Labatt for NOI or fee for service. So I'm assuming you're a direct ship RA. Okay. Yeah, hopefully that helps. It's just an additional training. You're going to get another login. So you'll have access to another screen in WebSCM in order to receipt your direct shipments. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully everybody got that assessment. Just a second. So we're just walking through that same process as Chris did with the direct delivery. We put our items in our cart. We spread our orders by delivery date. We put in a reference number and a descriptor. And now we're going to get ready to select our ship to. So as we mentioned, hopefully we've done all of the grouped like items. So we are sending our chicken basically to our processor. So we have all of those same items. So we can assign just the one ship to location. So that kind of eliminates the margin for error. So under that deliver to column, you'll have a drop down. Now keep in mind, this is where you're going to have access to a lot of different processors. Okay. So you want to make sure that you are selecting your bid awarded processor. So WebSCM doesn't know that at, I don't know, Apple ISD, they don't know that you only process with Tyson, for example. So you're going to see the list of processors there. So you want to make sure that you select your appropriate processor in the deliver to. And then remember that little box up at the, it's at the top of the bottom portion of your screen, the deliver to selection. When you click that box, it highlights all of the different items on this specific requisition, and it will apply the ship to all of these items. That's why we're going to kind of organize our requisitions with like items. Then we click the update, because remember that saves it. And then our best practice is that they're updated to the draft status, because this allows us to perform that quality assurance check. And I think one of the benefits of the draft status is, you know, sometimes when you're entering all the data and you're looking at the numbers and the cases and the pounds, and it can be overwhelming. It's a lot of information. It gives you the chance to kind of walk away from it and then come back, or maybe have someone else take a glance at it, or make sure we didn't have our fat fingers, right? 10 cases became 100 cases. And for a smaller entity, that could be a lot to manage. So we've identified our ship to in the drop-down location. Then we move over to that user status column. It defaults to the ready for approval. So this is where we want to change each line item to draft. So we move that across. Change each of those line items to the draft status. Click the drop down. That's what's going to display those options. Highlight draft. Go through each one. This one we can't apply to all, so you do have to go individual by line item as you convert to the draft. When we click update, then it saves all as a draft. So same process. And then we're going to click order. And just as the reminder, when we click order, this saves it as a draft, but at this point, TDA cannot see it. So it's just kind of hanging out. You have access to it in your live environment, but TDA cannot see that requisition. So don't forget about it. If you don't go back in and perform your quality assurance and then send it to TDA, it's not going to get ordered, and they can't remind you to send it. So you want to have your process whereby you remember that we have to go back. Don't forget about your drafts, because it's not an order at this point. So there's our reminders. It hasn't gone to TDA. They can't order any materials. However, it has pulled from your entitlement. So that's kind of a benefit as well, because what you can do is you can go in and you put in all your requisitions. They can be in the draft status, and you're monitoring your entitlement dollars as they draw down. So then, you can go back and check the different reports, those entitlement details and summaries. And because it's pulling that accurate total price, the unit price within WebSCM, you can truly, put those requests down to the penny, or modify or change different items within draft. So it is pulling against your entitlement, which is the good news. So then we're going to click that order button. Okay, the window pops up. We say okay, and that saves it as a draft. So at this point, the requisition number is assigned. It's still in a draft, but it identifies it, and basically, I don't know, it kind of moves it into, I don't know, it's a draft status. It's just hanging out within your transactions, basically. So we are ready to proceed with our quality assurance reviews. Like we said, whether that's you coming back at another time, or maybe if someone else can take a look at the information to perform that quality assurance. So you can print it, save it. So this is before we submit to TDA. So we're going to walk through that same process for the quality assurance. So this should look familiar. You can utilize the requisition checklist. We moved that into the chat earlier. That's the one pager that walks through the requisitions, both for direct delivery and processing. You're going to look at the quantities, the unit of measure, the ship to, and the delivery dates that are selected for the ship to. And then basically it's just that final sign off that everything is ready to go to TDA. We made our list, we've double checked it, and we're ready. So in our check, we're looking at those material descriptions and product numbers, right? Making sure that we have identified the correct product number based on our bid awarded processor. And does that processor accept the material code that you are sending to them? We're looking at the delivery point. Is this the correct processor? Here, some of the items available, some may be in pounds or some might be in cases. So just paying attention to those quantities in units to ensure that you ordered correctly. As we said before, the commodity calculators and different tools that you utilize to determine those quantities, you're still following that same process to determine how much you need based on your menus. We're looking at each unit. That's what we just talked about, the calculations. We need to recalculate a quantity. And then we're going to check that delivery date along with the unit of measure. If it's not correct, we can update it. So we're just walking through that process. By now, you guys are pros. You've done it for all your direct delivery drafts. You're moving through your processing drafts. And then you just continue to repeat that quality assurance check for each line item within each requisition. So once we've done that, because that's happening almost like off the printed hard copy. I mean, you can do it electronically, but that double check, is taking place. Then we're ready to go back into WebSCM. And now we're going to update from the draft to the ready for approval state. So we have to get everything. We're moving back to WebSEM. So we have all of our printouts or our electronic copies where we did our quality assurance. We're sitting back down. We're going to log into WebSEM. Remember, this time we're under operations still. We just have to pull up those drafts. So it's still order management. That's our tab. This is our pathway. Then we get to the My Transactions. You can always minimize the windows. Remember, if you want to make that screen bigger. And then obviously in the training environment, this is where a lot of you guys, you see a lot of different things and you're clicking and we get some of those errors. But once you're in the live environment, pretty confident you guys you'll be okay with, seeing your transactions and working through eliminating some of those error codes. So we click the My Transactions, we change the status and the creation date. So our status in the drop down will change to any. And then on the creation date within the drop down, we can select the last 12 months. And what that does is it just pulls up all those transactions that are in the draft status. So you don't have to go through all of them at one time. You're working through this at your own process as you move them from drafts to ready for approval. So we click on that hyperlink that's identified. And then we're ready to update. So we do have to click the change button. And that's what gives us access to modify, basically, this requisition. So we click change, and now we have access. It opens up all of those different fields that we double checked. And if we need to change anything, we can edit, change quantities, remove, trash, delete something, whatever we need to do. There's our quantity. If we don't need any edits, then that's fine. The drop down arrow, remember, that's what opens up the delivery point or the ship to. So if we want to expand that field, we can open that up. All the warehouses and the processors. So that's what I mentioned before. So you want to make sure that you select the correct processor. So you should see your processor. And if you have a vended meal contract and you are with a vended meal provider that has been approved as a processor, then you will see them as well. So they should be there. If you are not seeing your processor, then you would need to contact either your ESC and we can notify TDA, because we did have some of that with some of our RAs in the pilot. Sometimes things get missed, but we can make sure that you see your processor. You select your processor from the drop down. You can just close that. That minimizes that screen. And then we're always clicking update if we make any changes, because that's literally what kind of saves it. And then we go into that draft column once all of our updates are complete. And remember, we have to change each one to ready for approval, each line item. So that's a one-by-one process. Once we've done that for all of the line items within our requisition, then we click update again. But it's the save button that's critical. So the update is fine, but we have to click that save button because that's what is actually going to send the requisition to TDA. So that's truly submitting the requisition. So we click the save button, it pops up that window, the pop-up comes up. So we say, okay. And at that point, it will generate the confirmation of the receipt. So at this point, it has gone to TDA. And so once it's gone to TDA and it's in the ready for approval status, you can no longer make edits or changes to it. So keep that in mind. That's why that quality assurance step is so important and a critical piece of the process. Because once we submit that requisition to TDA, at this point, you can't make any more changes to it. So if that happens and you're like, oh my goodness, but I made a mistake, what do I do? Well, so then we have to get it canceled. So TDA can cancel it and then you can re-enter a requisition, but it's been submitted at this point. So we've walked through that process. We have our confirmation. We can print. You're saving electronically, hard copy, however you manage your orders, because you will want to keep. These are your requests. So this is replacing your surveys that you entered through TXU and PS for this current year. So for next year, you're going to put in your requests, and this is your information for what you're asking for. And then we just repeat the process. So you just walk through that same extended search. You're looking for your product, your material numbers, your item numbers. And then we didn't go through it in this class, but hopefully by now you guys have taken the RA 101 and 102. And remember, you have the entitlement. There's a summary report and an entitlement detail report. So after you put in your requisitions, remember I said that it's automatically pulling down your entitlement. So that if you run that report, and if we need to walk through that today, we can, but if you run that report, then it allows you to see exactly how much entitlement is remaining as you walk through and enter those different requisitions. So I think this is our last assessment for the day. I do want to walk through and maybe show you guys within the training environment what we just kind of went through, but I'll leave this up for a minute before we switch to that. So it looks like sometimes within the transactions, when you guys go back and try to change, that it does give you errors, or another RA is using it. And so that, I think that's common in the training environment. It's okay, just pick a different transaction to review, basically. And then, as Tamika said, they are going to have an in-person lab on December 12th and December 13th with access to the training environment and going back through any of the trainings, because ultimately, you guys, we just want to make sure you are armed with the knowledge and are comfortable entering your requisitions, whether it's direct delivery or processing. Similar format, a little bit different, how you search within WebSCM. Remember, your direct delivery is through the catalog. You can kind of look at everything, whereas processing, we've identified those material numbers and then linked them directly to our processor. Let's make sure on this assessment, you guys got what you needed. So you're looking for the image. Oh, it's asking if it's true or false. The image below is the PDF version of a submitted requisition. Okay. That's right. So once you guys complete that last assessment, just let me know. Or if you have any questions, keep putting those in the chat. Okay. Okay, let me see. Okay, I am going to stop sharing that. And okay, so I'm going to go into the training environment. Hopefully, let me make sure. Okay, so here's our NTRN up at the top. We're in the training environment. You'll have, once you get access to the live environment, you'll have your user and your organization name. This is the landing page. All right, so we're in operations. We're going to go to order management. This is a domestic order entry. So this window pops up. Remember, we're going to click down here for our direct delivery. But for our processing, we're going to go to extended search. And then from here, we are going to put in our product number that we match to our processor on the approved list. And then we're going to search for product number. So over here, and remember, we can minimize our windows here to make the screen bigger. So we have our entitlement and bonus. Remember, we cannot enter here. So we're looking for our large chicken, chilled chicken. So we click on our shopping cart. And in this one, you can see it starts in December to May. So we would, do our best guess to spread it out. But as I mentioned before, this doesn't mean that you're not going to see your chicken until December. You're going to get your chicken, no worries. All that still, it's going to move through the process, get procured. So we're just going to put in 100 cases, and then we will get 50 here and 50 here. So we are in pounds, remember. So we move it to our cart. It's up at the top, so it's already assigned that value. So at that point, the value is beginning to draw down from your entitlement. If we have other chicken items, we can add those if we want to keep our like chicken items that are going to our processor. So you could, at this point, add additional products, and then you can move into your cart. So remember your reference and your descriptor. These are just optional, and you're determining what, if you want to use an item code or something specific. It's just your local record keeping system. We identify where we are sending our material number. So we're going to send this to Tyson. Remember this box above the different line items. If we click that one, it checks all the boxes for us. And then when I update, it updates every line item. So same process as direct delivery, everything is assigned to Tyson. Here. I've got my quantities, and then remember, I'm moving everything to a draft because I'm going to get ready to perform my quality assurance. So I move it to draft, but I still have to click order, right? So I can't leave it at this point. If I leave it here, I'm going to lose it. It's not going to save. It's going to time out. So order, do you really want to send the order? Okay. But it's not sending it to TDA, remember? It's just keeping it with you locally within your RA. You have access to this transaction. It's in progress. So we're printing from this point, saving electronically, because now we're going to step away for a minute, perform that quality assurance, and then make sure that we've entered our quantities, everything is accurate. So we can close. And then if we start over, because obviously we come back, we do our quality assurance, we come back, and then we go back to our order management, order entry. And remember, these are the My Transactions. We want to make sure that's the tab we're under. We have our status and the creation date. So we can change that to any. And then we recommend last 12 months. And we click go at this point. And then you can see, because within the training environment, I've created, and I think it's based on actually the user. So whoever's using the same user login that you are in the training environment, then you see all of those transactions created by those users. So I think that's what it's tied to, because I recognize some of the names here. So here's the one that I was just in. I'm going to move that to a ready for approval, because I've decided everything is correct. It's accurate. I'm going to minimize that. But remember, in order to make changes, because like right now, I don't have any drop downs. I can't do anything. So I have to click change. So once I click change, now I have access. I can change my ship to, my delivery points. If I made a mistake, I can change my quantities. And I can change my draft status to ready for approval. It's just that the draft to ready, remember each individual line item. Okay. update. I have a new value, pulling my entitlement. This is based on pounds. And then when I click save, this is what sends it directly to TDA. So now they can see it. I have completed my request. It's pulled down from my entitlement. And I'm hopeful that all the truckloads will make, and then I will receive that product. If it's processed, it's going to follow your same ordering procedures. You're going to be able to view your poundage and your drawdown through Processor Link in K-12. But as it moves through the process, just be aware that you will get a lot of alerts through WebSCM. So you'll get more emails, and that's covered more in the reporting and the account setup WebSCM trainings. So within those next trainings, once you get your access, we talk about some of the reporting. I think Chris and I are back again next week with account setup and reports. And that's when you really, you see everything moving through the process, through the request, through the procurement, the sales order. And so you have access to all of that information. So let's see, last time. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to turn on the video. Okay, let's see what we got here. Why doesn't let me see? I don't know if I understand.
I think she's asking, like when we did the direct delivery, how it had like meats, poultry, different items. Is that what you're asking, Kay Bridges?
But it says like TXUPS.
You can unmute.
Yeah, please unmute. You guys feel free. Yeah, this is informal. This is to help you. Is there a date when all of the requests must be? Oh yes, there is a date. Yes. So TDA there's some required training in January and February. So I think it's like 6 weeks. We're offering training sessions each week, and one representative from each RA is required to log in. And that's where we're going to kind of refresh, because obviously between now and Thanksgiving and Christmas, then when you come back, we're going to start this process in January. And so TDA will notify you when the requisitions, remember those are the catalogs. Oh, excuse me, when the catalogs, which were formerly the surveys, when those are available in WebSCM. So when all the catalogs are loaded into WebSCM for 24-25, TDA is going to let us know, you'll know. And generally that starts around March 1st, I think at least. That's kind of what it did last year.
Yeah.
And then they will close at a certain date. So there's a time frame. It's similar to like when the surveys were open in TXNPS. And then you can walk through, and maybe you want to do all your direct delivery fruits and veggies in week 1 when the catalog's open, and then you're going to move into your meat alternates in week 2, or you want to do all your processing. And at that point it's up to you, but there is a recommended time frame when it's open. Will dark and white meat still be a factor? Yeah, so you still have to order the whole chicken. So this is the training environment. It doesn't have everything loaded basically, but if you're diverting to the processor, you've got to even out between the dark and the white because it's the whole chicken. Yes, so that's not changing. Maybe that's what I'm assuming, that's the clarification, maybe, for the chicken. Okay, so any other questions, you guys? We can talk about next steps. I know we have a training again next week where we will review account setup and the additional reports. So we encourage you to work in the training environment as much as possible. Reach out for those in-person labs if you need assistance with that. Will we still do pre-ordering K-12 and Processor Link? So I'm not sure what pre-order means, but you will still utilize K-12 and Processor Link in regards to managing your orders and your drawdown once everything's been procured and TDAs, we've built the trucks and the processors have. Now, if you're within your co-ops, if your co-op coordinators were rolling some of that together, that's where you're still working with them to determine like material numbers, and you're trying to build those trucks, but you're physically, as the RA, you are entering those requests into WebSCM. So that's the step that's, you're having to get that information. So you should still use your calculators to determine how much you need for your menu items, and that way everyone within the co-op that's helping to make sure that we have those truckloads. The date next week it's a week from today.
15th.
So the 15th. And I believe that's account setup. Oh, good, Rhonda. Account setup there. I think Nikisha just posted it. It's 105 and 106. It's at 9 a.m. The Zoom link. And hopefully some of you guys have gone through, you've gotten maybe some of your emails that your eAuth has been activated. We have information as TDA sends different eAuth accounts to USDA. So what we ask is that when you get that email, just don't do anything. Just hold on to that email because I don't think Region 10 has done an account. Have y'all done an account setup class yet? Have we done one?
No, we haven't.
Okay. So if anybody has their email from USDA, we just ask, don't take action. It might seem simple, but if you'll just wait and go through the training with us next week, that just kind of helps eliminate a lot of errors. And as we mentioned before, please don't reach out to WebSCM for technical assistance. At this point, you don't have an account. So the WebSCM help desk, they're not able to help. Register through your ESC, come to the account setup. Even if you haven't received your account email from USDA that says, we're ready to link your RA and give you access to the live environment, you can still come to the account setup and the reports class next week. It's not hard, you guys. It's a pretty seamless process to walk through. There are some errors sometimes, but we've encountered a lot of that with troubleshooting. So please feel free to attend it if you just want to hear the information. Anything else or any other questions? We are right on time, you guys. It's 11. So thank you for bearing with us today and walking with us through the process. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We just want everyone to feel comfortable and be ready and knowledgeable in walking through the process. And if not, then we will see you guys next week. Please register. Yes. And Region 10 will send the links the day before, prior to trainings. So I want to make sure you guys get credit, because you do have to get credit and you do have to take the assessments for specific user profiles to ensure that you get your access to the RA. So we just have some protocols we got to follow. But it's been a pleasure. You guys have a great day.